the ranch livestock, cowboy livestock. It all consists of God, family first, and freedom. Because all cowboys are free. Nobody owns him. And that trickles down all the way through the ranch cowboys, feedlot cowboys, all of them. They got that free nature. All that lifestyle is in and around the creation, nature, you know, outside. And that draws us all to the Creator. I've always said that it was by divine providence that I was born into and raised up in the ranching industry. And then I made a choice to stay there. And that's how it sort of all started, and it's just evolved from there, and every bit of it interests me.
He's done it all, and he has a lot of respect from a lot of people in all walks of life. Everybody respects Jimbo. Does what he says he's going to do and can do very well. I don't know of anybody that doesn't like Jimbo, from little kids on up to older people. They all just think he's great.
From the chuck wagons to the horses to the cows to being raised on the pitchforks. It's his passion, and he takes a lot of pride in it, and that's what he knows, and that's what he's good at it, and he's proud of it.
We were raised with values, and number one, God and Jesus first. I mean, that's above all. And then from that, you go to family, and then from that, we spend our lives taking care of God's creation. You go do what you love, and you don't do anything because it makes money, because you'll never be happy. You go find something that you like, and God will take care of the rest. All the other values just fall into place.
Finished high school here my senior year, and right after that they had the draft lottery. That was the year they opened it up. They hadn't won a lottery since. I got into the National Guard. I spent 6 years doing that. And I got shoeing horses, and then that got me back out on the ranches. And then I got interested in the welding and all that. And then these ranches needed somebody to build some pens, and just one thing evolved into another on everything I've done. Just something leads to something else. So when I'm making a living under the horses shoeing them, I didn't spend much time riding them at that point in time. And then I got interested in the teams, and that led back in. I got to riding again, and then I got to showing and cowboying day working there after that, and I needed some equipment, and I sure didn't have no money to buy it, so I just said, well, I'll just build some, and that evolved into another way. I made a living for a while with building bits and spurs, and then passed that on to my son, and he does that now, and I don't have to, so.
I've been making bits and spurs for a little over 20 years now, and I picked it up when I was in about junior high and high school. My dad was making bits and spurs at the time and had a little shop set up there at his house. He'd give me some basic instructions of how to go about it, and a lot of trial and error, but he was there to help. But I was fortunate enough to have him, and of course he was very open to telling me how he did stuff, and I was there to watch him, and so I was really lucky to have that, to get to do what I do now.
I wish everybody was lucky enough to be raised the way we were. I mean, you know, just that But we always had a good dad, and he always provided, and I mean, we lived through everything he put us through. So we may not have liked it at the time, but we come out better in the end of it. You're just always teaching. You never get through learning. We learned a lot. I mean, we learned more than just cowboying. I mean, we learned how to, we didn't have any money to pay anybody to do anything, so we had to just learn to do it ourselves. And he's a good teacher.
I'm very lucky to have him. I had no horse and he was a horseshoer, and my sister thought we ought to get together, and so we did, and it stuck. So here we are in Dickens, Texas.
And she had a sister that I decided that me and her needed to meet, and so I went and shod her horse one day, and 6 months later we were married. Been married for 50 years this April, coming April.
We've had a lot of business ventures. We owned a lumberyard at one time. We owned the post office building, and we owned that gas station here in Dickens, the only one in Dickens. So anyway, but he's always jumping in with all fours.
I guess I was trying to figure out what I might do when I grew up. I hadn't figured that out yet. So
I'm blessed, really, to have him. He's just a good, hard-working, decent man.
I've been with Guitar Ranches, I guess, a little over 30 years. And I was day working for them and day working around and cooking and all. And I felt like I'd accomplished what I needed to accomplish with the wagon, and so I decided, well, I believe I'll just see what a monthly check would feel like, because I hadn't drawn one for 25 years. I'd been self-employed, so I'm still here. Probably what makes a good cowboy nowadays is a guy that recognizes horsemanship and stockmanship and utilizes those things. They still got to be tough. They still got to ride bucking horses, and and there's wild cattle to catch.
He just takes on something and does it the best he can, and then when he has hit the top, he goes to something else and tries that, and reaches the top, goes to something else.
I mean, this is what he's done his whole entire life. I mean, a lot of people are all talk, and he's not that way. He doesn't say much, but when he does, you better listen.
One of the neatest things about my dad is how versatile and well-rounded he is, from his cooking to building wagons to working horses, from even preaching from time to time and reading out of the Bible to working cows, from cooking a Dutch oven of sourdough biscuits to baking a cobbler. It's going to be done and done right, and everybody's going to like it. I think that's one of the neatest things about him, that maybe not everybody realizes how versatile he really is. Everybody sees him as a big old lanky cowboy, and that can probably saddle a horse and punch some cows, and that's probably the extent of it. But it goes a lot further than that with my old man.